Hello there, I'm Peter Mansbridge. Well, tonight we visit the Canadian Bar Association as it prepares to say farewell to someone very special. After 36 years at the CBA, Senior Director of Communications Stephen Hanson has decided it's time to bid the association au revoir. Whether it's writing a last-minute speech for the president, preparing a media strategy, or finalizing arrangements for a high-profile meeting, Stephen has done it all with his unique brand of energy, humor, and common sense. And although it seems like Stephen's been with the CBA forever, what you may not know is that his career began at the CBC in New Brunswick in 1967. When asked what he's most proud of from his CBC days, Stephen answers without hesitation, his interview with Pierre Trudeau.
Look, I don't want to get into the Tory party problems. I think they have enough of their own that I shouldn't try and settle them for them.
An interview with a former Prime Minister might have marked the highlight of Steve's CBC career, but the best was yet to come. After his years at the CBC and a brief stint with the federal government, Stephen and wife Raymonde, along with their young daughters Natalie and Michelle, decided on a bold move to Ottawa. Opportunity beckoned, a chance to run the communications department at the CBA and to help lawyers sound, well, a little less like lawyers. It was the start of a career in communications that would span more than 3 decades. We went to the CBA offices in Ottawa to find out a little bit more about the man, his achievements, and what makes him tick. A desire to build on past successes, for one. Stephen's long-standing attachment to National magazine dates back to the tabloid days of its predecessor. At the time, National was printed at Le Droit's printing press in Ottawa and distributed to all members. But Stephen believed strongly that a proud and noble profession had earned the right to enjoy some luster as well as quality content. The CBA publication should reflect that. Stephen a donc facilité l'évolution du National, qui est passé d'un journal à la revue que nous connaissons aujourd'hui. Stephen also brought his media and broadcast expertise to the association. A sad fact widely known, journalists can, on the odd occasion, cover legal issues. How shall we put this? Superficially? Hannah Bernstein tells us more.
Building on his training as a broadcast reporter, Stephen has brought his media expertise to bar leaders nationally and in the branches. In the 1980s, he spearheaded the Law in the Media program to improve legal journalism in Canada. He was instrumental in the launch of the Justicia Awards, and he regularly trains bar leaders on how to deal with the media. This past June, he put bar executives in Alberta through their paces in a series of mock interviews. The tough questions he posed were designed to both challenge and improve their skills at responding succinctly while including key CBA messaging in their answers.
As we know, Stephen was no stranger to politicians. He was part of the team that first brought Law Day to the CBA, and since its proclamation by Prime Minister Trudeau in 1983, Law Day has welcomed Prime Ministers Mulroney, Chrétien, and Martin, as well as Justice Ministers Ray Natishin, Irwin Cotler, and Rob Nicholson. Always one to embrace change and push the envelope, Stephen brought new technologies to the CBA. Long before Hotmail and Gmail, there was CBANet. He's also the man you want if you need to bridge your amplifiers to boost power to your subwoofers. But I digress. Steve's logical next step, of course, was to improve on the CBA's web presence. Since the first website was launched in the mid-90s, web traffic has grown exponentially. Web director Jason Levy reports that today the site receives over 5 million hits a year. That's quite a figure. Perhaps the nation's lawyers are listening to Steve after all. Stephen has always understood that content and delivery are key. Under his guidance, the CBA has gone social and now has an active voice on Twitter and Facebook. For those interested in more than 140 characters of opinion, the CBA's online presence also extends to the online version of the Canadian Bar Review. During Stephen's tenure, the Bar Review has migrated from hard copy to a fully searchable online document with articles dating back to 1923. You won't find that on Facebook. Since 2009, Mr. Justice Thomas Cromwell of the Supreme Court of Canada has chaired the Bar Review editorial board. The board deals with subjects such as theme issues, quality of submissions, and international contributions. En 2010, la Revue du Barreau canadien a souligné l'anniversaire du Code civil en organisant 2 conférences, organisées par Stephen bien sûr, qui ont eu lieu à Montréal et à Québec. Working with the Awards Committee, Stephen oversees the CBA Recognition Program, the Viscount Bennett Fellowship Award, the Rowan Legge Award, the Ray Natition Award, and the CBA President's Award, all recognize outstanding achievement and excellence. In fact, Stephen himself was the recipient of the President's Award in 1998, honoring his work for the CBA. And no, the fix was not on. Really, no one was more surprised than Stephen. To keep it a secret, he was led to believe that there would be no winner that year. Imagine the look on his face when he was called to the stage to accept the award from then-President André Gervais in St. John's. Since 1996, Stephen has been a member of the senior management team at the CBA. CEO, John Hoyles.
One of the things we forget is being in a senior director's position at the CBA is not a 9-to-5 job. It means weekends, it means evenings, and you can imagine the number of weekend meetings and evening meetings that Steve Hanson has done in 36 years. So there's a group of people that need to have a very special thanks. His wife Ramon, Natalie, his daughter, Michelle, his daughter, their spouses, and the grandchildren, who may have not had Steve at a special family occasion because he was doing what he does so well, looking after the Canadian Bar Association.
Stephen consacre une grande partie, même une très grande partie de son temps au service des présidents et présidentes de l'ABC. To say Stephen spends some time in the company of presidents is like saying that Steve enjoys the odd chuckle. Over the past 36 years, he has perfected the art of speech writing and gives sage advice on communications-related matters to executive officers and bar leaders across Canada. At the end of a busy day, Stephen can often be seen tapping furiously at his keyboard, using the quiet time to add his final and magic touch to scripts and speeches. BC Branch ED Carolyn Nevin knows Stephen well.
It's often said that there are only 2 things you can count on in life, death and taxes. When I joined the BC branch 15 years ago, there were 2 others, Steve Hanson and mandatory membership. We all know what happened to the second one, but what you may not know is that in 2003 and 2004, Steve gave up weeks of his life to come here in the rain to enjoy Vancouver, but to give us his talents and his time to help us fight for mandatory membership. He was the first in the office and the last to leave. He stayed up late at night in his little 1-bedroom hotel room, heating up takeout in his microwave, coming into the office early to leave flowers in vases on every staff member's desk, to lift their spirits. And when we lost by the slimmest of margins, he was the first to congratulate all of us on a job well done, and the last to accept credit himself. And then again, when we had to run our very first recruitment campaign ever, he came out to dedicate himself and his talents to helping us. We are very grateful, and I may be biased, but BC, of all the branches, owes Steve the largest debt, and we will miss him terribly.
Et c'est à Vancouver que Stephen assistera à cette dernière conférence juridique canadienne. If you've attended the CLC at any time over the past 36 years, chances are you've seen Steve rushing about, making sure the room setup is just so, the lighting is bright enough, and the speakers know what to say. Through Stephen's leadership, the CLC has built a reputation as the premier national gathering of Canada's legal community. Back to you, Peter.
Though he readily admits that there's never a good time to leave, Stephen says he's looking forward to less pressure, a regular fitness regimen, and more free time. He plans to take a course in finance and spend more time with children and grandchildren. Already a fall trip to Italy is booked.
Steve, on behalf of the entire membership of the Canadian Bar Association, have a very happy retirement. Félicitations et bon voyage.
Steve, what can I say? The last 16 years working with you have just been stellar. You are the true professional. And on behalf of everybody, not only in Ottawa, but across the country, my fellow executive directors, simply want to wish you the most amazing retirement. You have earned it. And Steve, I have to ask you one question. Tell me, who am I going to have lunch with now?
Stephen, on behalf of your colleagues and friends at the CBA in Ottawa, we will miss your insight, your input, and your terrific sense of humor. Au revoir, mon ami, et bonne retraite.